My friends, I had another productive weekend. I'll tell you about that. And if you missed the shop talk on Friday, well, then you missed the biggest announcement that I've made on the channel since it started. So I'll tell you about that too. And we'll get to it all right after this. Hello, my friends. Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa Stringworks Workshop. It is Monday, May 22nd. And yes, I did have a very productive weekend. I was able to cut up most of the cedar logs. I have 6 left out of 28. So that's cutting quite a bit of lumber. I got a lot of 2x4s and a lot of 2x6s and larger lumber out of it. I also got a lot of cedar posts. Here's a little short video to give you kind of the current status. Well, my friends, I spent a great deal of the weekend and even Friday sawing these logs. You can see I've got 6 logs left to saw. You can see the pile of waste, which isn't very much actually when you consider there were 28 logs. And those are just skim thin pieces that really don't have much value. If I had a shredder, I might shred them into cedar shavings, which would be kind of cool for animal bedding or, hamsters or something like that. I started washing each log with the power washer, and I have all this, what I would call mulch down through here. There's more there than it looks like, I think. My wife might be able to use that for flower beds or something. I'm not really sure. I've got the sawmill covered. I was afraid it might rain overnight. The biggest improvement I've made to the sawmill recently is this brace. You can see how it goes down, connects to the corners, and comes up to this point here. And that helps take out some of the wiggle waggle. I would say it took out about 70% of it. There's still maybe 30% remaining. And I don't think we'll ever get that 30% out. I really don't. It's pretty much impossible, I think. It's just part of the design. The fact that these, everything rides on those screws. It just allows it to be a little looser than maybe a different design. But it seems to cut fine. In fact, it's cutting so well. Most of this is just scrap stuff that I can cut into either small boards or make stickers out of it. A lot of it in here is posts and better boards, but there's a lot of posts in here. I don't know how many exactly. There's quite a few. Then here's some of the better lumber. There's all of these are 2x, at least 2x6s, and they could be bigger. So there's quite a few there. You can see this whole pile of 2x4s with more posts, and there's a few 2x6s in that area there. And then there's, I think, 14 more 2x4s here. So I've gotten quite a bit of lumber out of those small, tiny cedar logs. I'm amazed how much, in fact. There's very little goes to waste. Even this really won't go to waste. I'll burn it in my wood furnace this fall, if nothing else. But if I had a shredder, I think it could make some really good bedding. I may try to get the rest of those logs sawed up today or tomorrow. We'll just have to see how it goes. Well, I hope you enjoyed seeing what I did with the sawmill over the weekend. And if you did miss Friday's Shop Talk, well, then you missed the announcement that I have decided to retire from building and repairing musical instruments. In other words, I don't plan to do it for customers anymore. After setting up the mandolin for Don Powers on Thursday of last week, I decided the hands have had it. It was very painful. I didn't say too much to Don while I was doing it, but it was really, really hurting. And I just decided that it's time to hang it up. I do have 2 more instruments on the shelf. They are the first 2 that were on my waiting list for when I get off the hiatus. Well, in this case now, I'm on permanent hiatus. But I am going to finish those 2 instruments, and I'm going to get those back to the appropriate customer. The rest of the customers that were on the waiting list, there was like 23 of them, I'm going to be sending out a group letter explaining the situation and that I'm sorry, but it's just the way it has to be. I'll be referring most of my business up to Caleb Mills up in the Kansas City area. I hope that he does well and keeps his standards as high as I was trying to show him down here. And I know he will. He's a good guy, and I trust him implicitly. I'm sure he'll have his learning curve and speed bumps along the way, but so did I. You know, everybody has that. You got to get through some years of experience before it starts to really make sense. Nobody understands that better than me. I can tell you that for sure. There will probably be some more changes coming up down the road, but for right now, I plan to keep the videos coming every day, the vlogs. I also plan to show projects that I'm doing here on the farm because I have an endless supply of projects here on the farm. I am toying with adding the word homestead to Rosa Stringworks. So it's going to be like the Rosa Stringworks homestead, just something to add that there's more to it than just Rosa Stringworks, but probably Rosa Stringworks homestead. And that way I can leave the Rosa Stringworks videos out there with the instruments, and then the homestead part will, you know, be the rest of it that you'll be seeing in the future. I will say this, I do plan to build another instrument or 2 for myself, and I do plan to work on my closest friends' instruments when they need real help. So you will continue to see a few instruments from time to time on the channel, but it's going to be far less than it has been in the past. That's about all I have for you today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you tomorrow.